Please patronize our sponsors who support the Guild and our mission to educate members and non-members to enjoy and enrich their woodworking skills and experiences. You Pick Hardwood Lumber and Beaver Industrial Supply.
Welcome, everybody. First up, website. I just completed an update on all the information that I had and what they had, so everything's kind of synced together. I got most of all the information, but what I don't have is I think I have 45 people that does not have a date for a shop safety. So if you have shop safety or whatever, if you can jump on the website and look and see if your date's in there or not. I went all the way back to, I think our records went back to 2000, so I got every date up to then. So if you were like before 2000 or so, if you can go out there and take a look and update your information, I'd appreciate it. That way when I send out the cards, I can make sure that I get you in there, because I've had about 6 of them in the last month and a half where I had to send out double cards because I didn't have any dates for them. Classes. Corey is working on classes for next year out at the shop, so if you want to have any information on classes you want to see held or want to teach, let Corey know. He's also looking for members that would like to give a presentation next year. I think most of all of the months are open, right, Corey? Yep, okay. And then Bob has still got hats and aprons. Next, raffle. Only one winner per night, because I know Tom's been Joe has been mentioning that for the last couple of meetings. So I decided I'd put it back in here. Holiday party. There's a sign-up sheet over here where Joe's sitting. If you can help, want to come early, help set up and do other things early. There's a sign-up sheet over here. Everybody should have got an email from Joe talking about things that are happening, and we need to sign up. Anything else? Yeah, register. That's on here. Register. We need to know how much food to make. Buy. Then next up, April 11th of next year is Superstar Weekend. Now. Coming up is Bob. You can give us a little talk on the financial report.
Okay.
Yep.
We went at Vicky's house, Corey, myself, Brian, and Joe, and we did an audit of the books for the last 6 months like we normally would do. We had one issue with a sheet that was printed out a month early, so the numbers were slightly off. We're correcting that now. No anomalies were found. Everything looked just the way it should. Basically, I'll send out a note to the board basically stating all that probably tomorrow
right.
after we've finalized everything tonight. So.
Yep, Vicki and I checked it over and it looks good.
Okay, so
right.
Everything's good on the audit for the last 6 months.
All right. Okay, Vicky's up next.
Many of you may know that Home Sweet Home is dear to my heart and touches my soul, and I can't tell you how appreciative I am and the organization is for all the tables that have been made and donated to them. And especially this year when we've kind of upped the game a little bit and making small dinette tables. They're perfect. So I was there this week and had another brainy idea and ran it by them, and I got an overwhelming yes, So here's my challenge. If you're like me, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 extra hand tools. And I am putting together kits of basic tools, of which I have a list up there. I personally, when I lived in a 4-story house, I had a small basic toolbox box on each floor, so I wouldn't have to run up and down the stairs. So I don't have that many floors anymore, so I have an extra toolbox with the tools in it, and I thought, well, I need more, so I was at Menards, and they had that lovely little red one on not on sale, but 11% discount. And I bought not just one, but I bought 5. Yeah. And I want to present them when we go November 1st for the open house, which I absolutely encourage each of you to sign up and go see just what a phenomenal job they do with the space they have and the materials they get in. So here's a list of suggested basic tools for the toolkit, and then some optional ones. And today I was putting one together, and I put in a little extra notepad. I also added one of those 2-prong to 3-prong adapter things. So just, things that you would perhaps put together to send your kid or your grandkid to college, or you just want to have on every floor of your house. So that's my spiel. I've got some sheets that you can take with you if you'd like to use as a reference, and I'll have an article in the newsletter next month. So that's it, and thank you very much for going through all your drawers. I'm not going to go through your drawers.
Thank you, Vicki. Okay.
Oh, hey, wait, I forgot to say. Oh. And if you can bring them to the meeting, and I'll assemble the kits, and I'll take them down, or just put your own kit together and bring it, and I'll still take it down. Thanks.
All right. Okay, next thing. How many people got my email today about Vic Barr's workshop being sold? I just got notified of it today. I sent it out about around noon today. It's weird, and I'm going to look and see about something else that I can do, because every time I take a large email like that and send it out to all, it takes forever for anybody to get it. The last time I did something like that, people were telling me they didn't get them until Saturday. So that's the reason why I put this up on the screen. If you need to know more, if you need to know this information, you can email me, and I'll just send you the email with all of the information on it, with all of the tools and everything else that he's got. Okay, so Mark Cortez is selling the entire workshop for Vic's daughter. He's got a sale this weekend from 9 to 3, and he's at 1663 Risen Court, which I have no clue where that is, but I think it's somewhere up close to St. Anne's. So here's all the information and Mark's phone number. His phone number is also on the website. But if you need some more information, just shoot me an email and I'll answer them tomorrow.
And it's sitting on the north side of the shop on a pallet outside. A lot of wood marked with species. And if you dig through that wood, there's 2 burls in there. Somebody ought to latch onto and turn some good stuff with that. And we also got 6 loads of wood out of that garage. So they've donated a whole bunch of walnut that you see stacked out in front of the shop that needs to be processed.
Oh, all right. And that was from Vic's too. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, what's up next is new members and our visitors. So if you're a new member or visitor, you want to stand up and we'll bring a microphone to you and you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Brandon. I just came by to say hello. Wanted to get an idea of what the organization is about.
All
Anything
right.
special?
Well, welcome.
Yeah,
Glad to have you.
Yeah, my name is Paul, and my interest really is period furniture. And so I've been doing it for a long time, and I moved recently, so my shop is in storage, and that's what this is about. A chunk of 10-quarter mahogany got away from me and clipped me. But at any rate, the reason I'm here, I've been to several of your things at the shop to and see what you guys have. But I'm really here to learn from all of you guys.
All right, welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff Nanny. I'm from Florissant. I was a member probably over a decade ago. Recently retired, found my way back in the shop, and discovered the MIDI lathe. And it seems like every year I specialize in something. A couple years ago, I got into bowls and just made everybody I knew a bowl for Christmas. And then last year it was ink pens. So I made everybody I knew an ink pen, and that's kind of an endeavor that I constantly learn from. But I opened an email today and saw this Woodworkers Guild, and I just got me another used RBI Hawk scroll saw that doesn't quite work. And I said, you know what, I need to go to this. So here I am, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, John.
Okay, what?
And ladies.
So on your Hawk scroll saw, right out the manufacturer is in Kansas City. All you got to do is call them on the telephone, tell them what you want, and they send it to you. Next.
Yeah, my name's Phil Collins, not the singer, but I live over on the Illinois side of the river. I heard about this over at St. Charles Hardwoods, so I decided to come check it out. I'm retired, fully retired now, so I've got some time to spend in my shop. I've got a basement shop, and I'm looking to do some cabinetry work, and I'm currently repurposing a hutch that it's kind of a family heirloom right now.
Oh, all right. Welcome. Right. Next up, October 19th is the fundamentals class. It starts at 2:30. That's Sunday. October 20th, Monday, the shop is going to be open. And I'll be the monitor that day. So come on out and keep me company. November 1st is our Home Sweet Home tour. There's a link out on the website. Please sign up. They just want to know how many people's coming to, because they got something planned. Vicki hasn't said really what it is, but they got something planned. They need to know how many people's going to be there, so. 9:30? I don't know, the last thing I looked was 9. It is 9:30? Okay. 9:30. And let's see, and then on November 1st, same date, it's Build a Mox and Vise class. And I forgot to look. Corey, is there any openings on that one? Okay, it's closed. Okay. Community outreach. So far this year, hospital toys delivered was 1,057. Collected so far this year, not including tonight, is 1,552. Bob, how many did we collect tonight?
189.
Oh, wow, good. As you can see, we're probably running a little short on toys. Nope. Okay. Well, that could be a good thing. The kids aren't getting sick. So that might be pretty good. Yeah. Next. Home Sweet Home. Tom's our chairperson. He has wood tonight in the back of his truck. So far this year, not including tonight, we've delivered 150 tables. How many tables we got tonight? All right. Anything else you want to say?
Okay. This is a new project that we're taking on, but we're also continuing to build the small tables. We've got a good supply of oak. Some of that's in the back of my truck. It's bundled in 8-stick bundles, and it's ideal for either the end tables or the sofa server tables. So I know fall's coming up. Hurry up and get your yard work done so you get into your shop and start building tables again. So everybody's efforts are really appreciated. Thank you. They can be used as tops, certainly eight for a top, and you can glue them up for legs as well. So it's all straight. There are no bevels or anything on it like we had before. Anybody have any questions? If you haven't stopped by back here and you want to see the the new dinette table base, feel free to come on back. Thanks, Brian.
All right, thank you. All right, next up is the Christmas toy program. So this tomorrow is another. I saw Wayne somewhere around here. So tomorrow's another day, right? Yep. Okay. First and third weekend of the month. I know it's right here. He's going to go until next month. So if you want to go out and help, he'll be glad to have your help in. And as you could see, most of this stuff should have been turned in tonight. Now it's time for questions and answers. And we haven't had this in a month or so. So if anybody been having any problems or anything that they want to talk about, or a goof like I did with my sandpaper, there we go.
Yeah, I see the club's in the market for a new lathe. It's been whittled down to, I think, 3 models.
Yes and no. Yes, we're in the mood for we're looking for a new lathe, but I don't know if it's down to 3 models again.
Well, that was in one of the newsletters. I was
Yeah.
just wondering what you're looking at, and capacity-wise, I've got a small lathe, but be nice to turn something bigger once in a while.
Go ahead.
I'll trade you.
Basically, is what we're trying to do is replace the old Delta lathe with something with similar capacity. We want to be able to do spindles, get a full-length spindle in there, but we also want a big enough diameter that we can turn a reasonable bowl. So we're trying to look for a machine that can kind of span the spectrum of needs of the wood turner. Not necessarily dedicated to be a bowl lathe or a spindle lathe. We want to get something big enough to be able to do both. They do make an extension for a lot of those that can make it longer, but we then need to make sure to position it in the shop so that we have room for the extension. So we're kind of limited on space too, so we can't go nuts. But basically that's what we've been looking at. And we haven't really decided yet on what we're going to get. So if you have good suggestions, I'm open.
I don't have a good suggestion. I haven't shopped for one, but I've got a 12-inch lathe, and something in the 16 or larger diameter would be helpful, I would think.
Bowl lathe.
Yeah, well, but not strictly a bowl lathe.
We want
Yeah.
as well.
Okay.
We're looking for both.
All right. Great. Thanks.
Yep. Anybody else, any questions, comments, problems with any type of woodworking thing that they're having?
Wayne, that wood that's piled in front of the shop, can we just start sorting through that and grab a piece?
Coordinate that with Tom Tierney, please.
Okay.
But it's going to be cut down and used for tables primarily.
Okay, just wondering. All right, thank you.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay, so if you got something in show and tell, come on down and get mic'd up, because it's time for show and tell. So sometimes I get really bored at doing things, and I had this big square piece of wood that I wanted to try a 3D. I love 3D things, especially in my scroll saw. I do a lot of 3D stuff. But I wanted to do a 3D turning. So I made this, turned the inside first, did a little paint job on it, then did the outside, and it didn't really go together like I wanted it to, but I decided that, hey, it could be a nice Christmas ornament. And so I put a light in it. So it's like, I'm going to have to try it again. But what I did is I took a big 3-inch square piece of wood, cut it equally in 4 parts, and kind of halfway glued it together, turned the inside, so I made a big cove, tore it apart, put it back together again, so all of that turning was on the inside, and then I turned the outside of it. And it was really fun to do it. And nice thing about turning stuff like this is it doesn't take long. And if you got a short attention span, I do sometimes, works out really good. No.
We've got a desk in the kitchen with her computer on it, and she's had this old chair there that was kind of rickety, and I was looking for something to do, so she said, can you build me a chair? And I'd never done one before. I went to SketchUp, the 3D warehouse, and it was pretty much useless. So I went to Plan B, which was my old Woodsmith magazines, and sure enough, I found this chair in August of 1989. So it was kind of an older one, and I went ahead, put it in, and basically my wife was 4'11", so I scaled it down a little bit. It was this was originally a dining room chair, so ended up making it a little bit smaller to fit in the kitchen well and fit her well. Hadn't done any seat upholstery in quite some time, and it's amazing what you can find on YouTube. There were a whole bunch of YouTube videos on the best way to do upholstery, so I learned something new. Also learned how to cut a whole bunch of curves on a bandsaw. And if you remember, a couple of months ago, I bought that little device in to do an edge around all of my pieces so that I could final cut them on the router table. So there were quite a few bandsaw turnings on this that were also a lot of fun to learn how to do.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
oh,
Nice chair.
African walnut.
Wow.
Thank you.
Hi, Bob Coulter, relatively new woodworker, just did the fundamentals class with Bill, Bob Banner, and Phil last year. And what I brought today to share was this past weekend I was down at Eureka Springs School of the Arts. Second class I've done with them. This one was with Doug Stowe on box making. And so it was a good chance to refine some of the skills that I'd done in the fundamentals workshop and try out some new woods, learn some new techniques, and just brought them to share. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Nice job.
I'm Joe Grayson. My daughter called up and said her son wanted me to build a boat for him. So of course my response was, how big? And his dad was from Cambodia. He actually came over during the Khmer Rouge stuff 40 years ago or whatever that was. So I looked for a Cambodian kind of boat, and I couldn't find anything that didn't look like some Majesty's riverboat or something like that. And I don't like the way Chinese junks look. So I found a cargo ship from probably about the 16th century in Japan. And the boat came as a kit. About 20% of it was laser cut, things that I think even our demonstration might be challenged to do some of these things. But the rest of it is all stick built. So once the boat was finished, I got a couple chunks of cherry from the hardwood place in St. Charles and ripped it in the strips. I didn't have any plan for the boat's made out of cypress, by the way, but the rest of this thing is cherry. And I didn't have any plans for it, but I wanted it to kind of have an Asian feel. And I couldn't find any pictures or anything that, kind of looked like the roof on a pagoda or something like that. So the whole design, I didn't see anything that looked like this, but I feel like I'm good at making mistakes and not being afraid of it. Everything I do, I probably do 3 times before it looks right. And that's kind of the way that this thing worked, even down to when I first, I wanted to stain the thing a lighter color, but it looked all washed out. So For the first time, I used this, it was a latex combination of some kind of polyurethane that had a stain built into it. And I never used that stuff before, and boy, I'll tell you, I swear by it now, because you can make a really crappy piece of wood look pretty nice with the thing. So, of course, you know, you can't cut your grandsons short at all, so there's lights in it. And the reason why it's only partially assembled right now is I got to send it off to him in about 3 or 4 weeks, and I didn't think there was going to be a show until in there. So some of the weird things. Somebody said they like things that don't take long. Okay, well, this stupid sail. We don't have a sewing machine. Each one of these lines took 20 minutes to sew by. so it's got a square stitch on the back, and on the front, the line comes up and it wraps around a line that goes down in the front of the sail, and it goes back through it. So I'm not one of those. But what I am, so the last thing, I talk too much. The last thing is I tend to do things too quick, and I don't always think through things. So when I was making these, all the pieces of wood for the thing, I have an oscillating drum sander at home, and I built a fence for it so that I do a lot of this stuff with small dimension stuff. And I'd set it up so I could run the pieces through and size the thickness and also clean them at the same time. Right. So you know what the stupid thing I did this time was that I decided maybe I could do that with a 6-foot long piece of strip. So I fed it through, and it looked like the ocean on top of the thing. So I went 2 weeks ago. I went to the guild, to the woodworking shop, and I asked. There was a guy there. He might have been, his name might have been Bob, and I said, you know, help. And you know, I thought he was going to have me plane it. I'm sorry, run it through the you know,
drum sander.
Yeah, the drum sander, but I didn't want to take much thickness off of these things. So he said, well, use a hand plane. So I never in my life used the hand plane, because the hand plane that I have is about as sharp as a screwdriver. So when I realized you can do miracles with those things, that landed up being worth the thing right there. So anyway, none of it's glued yet, because like I said, I just wanted to make sure it all fit, you know, bring it in here, because it's got to get shipped off. I'll probably spend 3 times as much on shipping than I did on this stuff. Yeah. So there you have it. If you want to do something that's a fusion of model building, woodworking, and carving, build a boat for yourself.
All right.
I don't know how that's done.
Well, most of you guys know I like to make puzzles, and so that's what I'm going to talk about today. A couple things. My shirt here says IPP 42. I just got back from Tokyo, Japan, where the International Puzzle Party 42 was held. So that was fun. And one of the activities they have there is if you design your own puzzle, you can participate in the puzzle exchange with up to 100 other people. So you make 100 of them, you exchange, and when you get done, you come home with 100 puzzles to play with. We had about 80 people participated, so now I have 80 puzzles to try to solve. So this was my puzzle, 42, and there's it's made out of wood, of course. There's 6 mahogany and 6 maple puzzles in there, and you have to make the numbers 4 and 2. And there was even a little theme, what's the answer to life, the universe, and everything aspect about that. But anyways, I'm going to put that in the drawing in case somebody wants it. or in case somebody doesn't, either. The other thing is, I was down in my shop and I happened to come upon this puzzle. I've had it for ages. It's called Gordian's Knot. As you can see, 6 different colored pieces, and you have to disassemble it. And I said, I wonder if I could make that out of wood. It became a challenge for me. And because of 6 different colors, I knew I needed 6 different colors of wood species. And I wanted the wood to be strong enough to get pulled in both directions. Just regular wood, it would be weak along the grain. So what I decided to do was take a 1/4-inch poplar, or Baltic birch wood, and then a laminated thin piece of wood on both sides. For walnut, oak, and like I said, 6 different colors. And then assembled it, and this is what it looks like when it's done. Just so you know, I don't actually know how to take it apart and put it together. I have a solution book for that, which has 69 steps to get this thing fully apart. Anyways,
oh boy.
So if anybody can solve this tonight, it's free for you. But if you can't, then you have to pay to get it back to the way it is right now. And so, no. Anyways, it worked out fairly well. I was pleased with the end result. So that's it.
All right, thank you. All right.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to the sawdust party.
Okay.
We are looking for some volunteers to help us. 4:30. Just get tables set up, tablecloths put on there, just get organized before people show up. If you're willing to help, I'd like you to write your name on the sheet. You got a question?
Yeah.
What it said is that from A to M would be side dishes, N to Z would be desserts, and we're not going to try to coordinate any type of plugging in, so don't bring any hot dishes. You can bring a hot dish as long as it can stay hot, to the level that you want, but we're not going to be heating anything. Did I answer your question? Okay.
That'll be upstairs?
It'll be, good
Upstairs.
point to emphasize, next month's meeting is upstairs. And so, but registration is important. We're going to order the food in a couple of weeks, and we want to make sure we got enough, not too much, and also we want to make sure we got enough other stuff for that night. And we have had members donating handcrafted items for prizes. If you have anything that you want to provide for that, let me know. Either it's in the email, contact me. And so, all right.
All right. There we go. Okay. Long time ago, I'm old. Long time ago is when I started scroll sawing. This was my first scroll saw. 1980. My wife came up with this thing and she goes, I think you can make that, because I was doing other woodworking stuff. So this is it. This is what I made with that machine. And it was so neat that I made a whole bunch of them for family and everybody else. And this is really, if you really look close, it's not all that great, because that machine wasn't all that great. But the neat thing about this thing is there's no nails, no screws, no nothing, and it's all being held together by these two pieces here. You take it apart, the whole thing comes apart. So it was kind of neat. And then after that, then I decided, well, that's pretty neat. So I made a bird feeder, but the bird feeder, somehow a couple pieces got lost or whatever. So yeah, that was my first scroll saw, and I had that until 1988. So I had that thing for 8 years. Go to the next one. Okay, that's my second one. Okay, until I got this machine right here. This is a Jet. Jet started making woodworking tools in 1985. And this is like their first scroll saw that they made. And I thought, man, I was in heaven, because that first scroll saw used pin-in blades. If you ever tried to make anything with a pin-in blade, you had to cut a great big hole to get things done. So I thought, man, this is going to be neat. I can use straight blades, and I don't have to make big holes. Well, this was kind of really dumb, but I did it for many years. Is you got two clamps, and that's how the blade goes in. Well, this doesn't stay on the bottom, and this doesn't stay on the top. So when you put, and it's got this little gauge up here that you got to put this in here so you get the right, size. And you have to put your wood in there, put this in there, put that on there, and then clamp it all in. And it's only one speed, very fast. But I used the hell out of it until I got to the point when I went, I can't make anything really, really nice. So that's when I went to George Bush in 1981. Go back to the PowerPoint. He gave us all a rebate check of $500 or whatever for a person. And so I bought my third scroll saw. This was really neat. I made all kinds of stuff with that. It was real, but the problem that I had with that is the throat wasn't big enough. I was going to bring my clock, but it didn't have any room in my car anymore. But I made a really nice clock, stands about that high with that thing, and it was a pain because you were having to do it in sections and glue them all together. So I kept that one until 2008 when I got my DeWalt. But you see, I didn't have that long. That was one of the very first years that they made that thing, and I destroyed it in that period of time. It cost me $250 to get that thing fixed. The guys that I got it from said that's because it was a very early thing and they didn't have good parts in them back then. And so when they got it fixed, they put all the good stuff in it, and I sold that for what I had to go get fixed, because then I bought my Hawk, number 5. And I've had this thing since 2010. And this thing has been a workhorse and been so neat. This has so many neat features that I'll get to in a little bit. But this thing here, the DeWalt saw, this makes a great saw. Things that I made with that one is my welcome sign. A lot of people I teach classes to, they think all you can do with scroll saws are make flat looking pictures and that, which is totally wrong. So I made that with my DeWalt. I made my clock. This is actually a business card holder. Yeah, it's a mailbox. So, insect cage. No, it's all, each section is a different is a different piece. So yeah, that was really fun getting that together. But I was working at Enterprise at the time, and you wouldn't believe the amount that I sold to these people. They went, I want one. And then that's when I started to do, I made a chess set with the DeWalt. And that's one of the, what I consider was a goof, but you look, and I look at it and I went, but that's one of the things I love to do is 3D, is the 3D cutting on the scroll saw, that they're fun. Was another piece, that's a screw, this is a brace, that's a brace and bit. I really didn't finish that one. Somehow I didn't put the big bottom on that one. One of the ones that I just did, I broke it on the way here. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Where I had it, it broke. It kind of like went. So, so then I went to my Hawk, which then I did this. Taught my wife how to do scroll saws, and she did that. And then she went, I don't like your saw, I want one. So I bought that one for her. That lasted about 18 months. That was only $100 and something. And it was really a good saw. But what I really liked about that is I taught a couple classes here, and we only had the 2 DeWalts at the time. And the Delta, I couldn't use that to teach with because the tensioning on it, every time you went to change the blade, not change the blade, but go through another hole, you had to retension it. And a lot of the students didn't do this. So I bought that one so I can take back and forth, and I used that for 3 classes. And that was really a good saw until we kind of wore it out. But that was a little over $100. So we got that one in 22, and that didn't last long. Well, until, I guess, 22 to 25. And then okay, that's it. I think, yeah, that's it. And then I bought her this machine. I used a lot of different scroll saws. And if you're looking to get into scroll saws and don't want to spend a lot of money but want to buy one that's got all kinds of neat features, this thing rivals the Excalibur. Oh, what was that other name started with a P? Pegasus. Yeah, Pegasus. This thing is about, and I used both of them. There was another one, a King. I've used them all, and this thing rivals that I would put this thing up against their cut any day. And with a coupon, I paid right around $200 for this thing. And this thing has all neat features. Now I use a foot pedal. Well, my wife uses a foot pedal. And we both have arthritis, and it's really hard a lot of times to get things tight. So I made this for her. So when we go to change blades, she can either the top or the bottom go in and go, choop. Got to go in one certain way. This is a Bauer. It's made by Harbor Freight. Neat thing about this thing is like the Waltz. You got that little piece of freaking wood that you got to put up underneath there when you do that stuff. This stays.
Ryan.
Yes.
When you bought that first DeWalt, did you know it was the first model?
No.
Okay, that was. You told me, I said, wait 5 years.
Wait 5 years more. Yeah. It had just come out, and I went to Woodcraft. I was going to buy a Delta, but they said the Delta that I wanted was belt driven, and it was 4-speed, and they talked me into this because this was brand new on the market, and it was a great deal. It was $500, came with the stand, it came with the light, and it was like, hey, this is really great. But it was a beautiful machine. I loved it. It was easy to tension. I was like, man, this is neat, till it broke, and I went, that's it. I'm spending the money. This one was very expensive. I probably would not do it today, but I was doing a lot of craft fairs. I was selling a lot of stuff, and I needed something that I can work on because back then at the time I was running about 6 hours a night after work, coming home and making stuff. So I needed something that was going to last. Right around $1,900. Yeah. Cost me $45 a month for many years.
So what's so nice about that saw?
Oh, I'll get to that. So yeah, this thing is really sweet. Variable speed. To let it down, you pull the plug. Now the Excalibur and the Pegasus doesn't have this. You more or less have to hold it up, just like you do the DeWalt. So tension's really set by here. They call it an arm height, but that's the tension. But I've used 2s, 5s, 7, and 9s and have never readjusted the tension on this thing here. The other thing that's nice about this is you can, when you put the bottom in, you drop it in and it stops. So you tighten it down, and when you come back, put in a top, tighten the tighten the top down, throw it back, it's tensioned. So, and this one, this one's really neat. And when we're done, if we got time, and I'll try to hurry up to and go through some of this. If you want to come up and play, you can play, because these two are fun. This here, the other thing that's really neat about this, and a problem that I have with a lot of the students, is I forgot to bring it. I don't know if anybody remembers. I made a whole bunch of T-jars that are beveled up and beveled down, all in the scroll saw. Well, my wife thought she was going to be able to do it, but the table tilted. And when your table tilts and you're trying to cut in a certain angle, you really have to hold that just right to do that. Not this one. This one's like all of the other ones. The table tilts. I mean, the table doesn't tilt, the head tilts. So you're cutting, when you're cutting your circles and stuff like that on your bevels, you keep your thing flat and cut right through it. And it works. It works really neat. When it tightens down, it tightens down. You just got a nice little bar that tightens and it locks it in. And so for the a lot of people crab about Harbor Freight stuff, but the way they made this thing, it's got to come out of the same factories as the other ones, because you look at all of them, where the screws are placed, the holes, the gearing systems, and everything else, it all looks the same. So I think it's 2 inches, if I remember right, 2 inches.
And what's the horsepower?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping it would say. Goes to 1600. It doesn't say. And it says the neat thing, max cutting is 2 inches, and it's got a full 3/4 inch throw. So when it moves 3/4 inch. So it's just, if you want to get into it, I say learn to do it. This is the machine, because it seems like it's gonna last, and it's and the other thing too, when you go back to center, you hear a click, and it goes right back to the center spot. So it's got a really good blower on it.
Did you buy that today?
Did I buy this today? Oh, yes. Yeah, they've only been selling them for, I think, pretty close to a year. And so that's this one. And I like it. It's nice. And it's not all that, it's on this bouncy table, but that's all the way up. And it's just little vibration because it's not bolted down or anything. So it's a really nice machine. I like it. A lot of times in the shop, I'll keep a 5 on this one and a 9 on this one. And if I'm going back and forth, then I don't have to change the blades. But now we go to this one. Yeah. No. I was going to get into blades. I buy blades from 3 different places. My favorite blades are Flying Dutchman's. They're great. They're made in Germany. They're sharp. They don't wear out that much. They're really, really good blades. Next one is Pegasus. Because there's one. Nope, that's that one. It's not there. And I do have one of these just like this that's set up with all Pegasus. But one of the that's not it. So I was at the shop. One day. I was a monitor, and what did I do with it? I wanted to scroll something, so I was going to work on a cross, and was looking through a bunch of scroll saw blades that we had there, because most of them were really old. But I came across an Ellison blade that was a skip tooth. Let's see, but that's not it. It was a skip tooth, number 5, 12 teeth per inch. And I went, I'll give it a try. So I was working on a piece of cherry, cutting out this cross, and it was like, oh man, this is like one of the best blades that I've come across. The edges were totally sharp. The wood along the sides was totally clean. I didn't have to do any sanding. I didn't have to do anything else. So I went, well, maybe it's just because of that wood. So I went out and I bought some, came home and stuck it on this machine, started cutting all kinds of crap. Stuck it on my wife's machine, had her come down and do stuff. We couldn't believe how well that cuts on all different kinds of woods. So now if I'm doing just normal type cutting, I will use that Ellison skip tooth blade. Now they're going up in price again. You know, it used to be I was able to pay $1.95 a dozen for saw blades. Last time I bought them, they were $6.95 a dozen. Well, see, I buy good ones. I don't buy. Normally, I do not go to Woodcraft or places like that and buy their stuff because you never know how old they are. You know, that's why I like dealing with Mike at Flying Dutchman because they're good. They're good blades. They don't wear out. They don't break. They're not brittle, and they're at a good price. The hardest piece of wood I've cut was Osage orange. Hardest wood in the state. No. 3/4 of an inch. I was making angels. My aunt cut down a tree, and it sat out in the backyard for like 2 years, so I figured the pieces were dry enough that I can cut. And man, you talking about okay, I got to push it a little bit. How about some water? Yeah.
You mentioned the age of the blade. Is it the older they get brittle?
They get brittle. Yeah. Now the neat thing about there's different types of blades. Some of the blades are stamped. A lot of the cheaper Ellison blades that you buy, they're stamped and they don't have a good edge on them and they don't last long. Usually you get about, on a really good blade, about 15-20 minutes on a good blade on cutting like that. Because I can tell when it starts to drag and they'll burn a little bit. It's okay, it's time to change that out. But on the Flying Dutchmans, I can usually go a half hour, 45 minutes. And boy, I tell you, they work great. And they're clean. So now the couple reasons that I bought my Hawk, other than it was made in the United States, and at that time it was made in Missouri. It was right in Kansas City. But they've since, Hawk has been bought out by somebody else. There's very little plastic on this thing. The only thing I've ever had to replace on this is my hold down arm, and that's because of opportunities for learning on my part. That when after you tension it, so you can lock your blade down like that, and that holds your blade down so you can do that. And you take this and throw it back like that. Well, a lot of times it just doesn't go all the way back. You just have to do this when you get done. Well, if you don't do that, then that breaks. And so, but they have replaced 4 of the, they've replaced 4 of these things for nothing. So what I did one time, because they were out of them, they were remanufacturing, I took a soda can and cut up a soda can and wrapped this whole piece here, because what breaks, this doesn't break, it's where the screws go in and holds that in that breaks. So I just wrapped the whole thing with metal from a soda can and put it in there, put holes in it. And I still have that one, so if one breaks, then I go back to my soda can one. But this thing here, different scroll saws, like the Delta at the shop is called a C. It's called a C. Its blades are C's. It rocks, big C, rocks back and forth, gives you a big aggressive cut because of how the blade comes like this. Like this saw, that saw, they're just, straight up and down, and you really can't, you really don't have any adjustment. So if you're doing something really thick and you're doing long cuts and you're doing thick, you want a more aggressive cut. Well, you really can't do that with these 2 machines or that machine. This machine here has an adjustment on the bottom where I can adjust the throat where I can turn this into very aggressive, not aggressive, back. I can go back to where the blade tilts forward, blade tilts backwards, straight up and down. Normally I keep it on straight up and down, but that's meant to cuts. That is one of the neat features about this saw. The other neat feature that I liked is that's the lower blade. When you do this right, and it comes with extras. I always have different blades. So if I'm working on something, if I'm working on a 3D cut, and I need to get into a real small, then I can go to a smaller blade. And instead of having to do all that, I have it right here. I just pick it up, put it in here. If you always put, and I can, oh, camera's over there. I made this little bitty board here on the side because my fingers and arthritis is getting bad, to where I just take this, drop this in this little piece here. Got this other thing that I made that loosens and tightens it. This is something that I did, is I put these wheels on it because I kept moving it around my shop. And I went, why didn't they make wheels for this thing? Got writing on here, teeth side, so I know which way the teeth go, because I made that mistake a few times and put it in and go, why am I not cutting? So I got this little thing here. You loosen it up. Well, I got a magnet right here, so when I change blades and the blades get bad, instead of trying to find a trash can, I just throw it there on the magnet. So the neat thing about this is tension. Okay, tension set back here, but once you get the tension set, you push you changing the blade, you push it all the way in to where it goes back and stops. And then when you come up here and put it in, bring it all the way down. This here rocks back and forth, so you just lift it up and you just drop it down to where it always comes all the way down. Tighten it up, and your tension's set. Yeah, that's what I get for not using my tool. My fingers are so bad that I cannot scrunch on anything, so I made this. And just put it on there and go tighten it down, and now tension set again. Really easy to do that. The tension is set by the number of blade that you have and this rocking arm. And you pull this back, then you set that up, and then you go like that. And it tells you by the clock facing on where you set the tension. And then the tension set. And this thing has a blower that would, dry your hair really quick. It's got so many, it's just all those little bitty features like that. Just makes this thing just good. Plus, one of the other things that it did come with a light, and the light fit in that hole right there and was over this way. But they don't make LEDs. It's all fluorescent, and I just don't like that. So I put this, but you can't find an LED on an arm like this with that size hole. So I'd replace it with another Hawk. Yep. Still as good, yeah. I got to talk 2 years ago. I went up to the Scroll Saw show in Des Moines, Iowa, and I got to talk to all of the manufacturer reps, and I got to talk to the guy at Hawk, and played with them, played with theirs up there, and I went, yep, I'd buy another one. But this, as old as this thing is, it's still like brand new, and it probably has, probably thousands of hours on it. But yeah, it's nice.
Do something like that. You have to drill holes in every.
Yes.
And then take the blade out.
Yep.
Put it back in. Okay.
Yep. In and out. In and out. In and out.
I learned
In and out. Yep.
I wondered if that's changed.
No. You still have to do that. This one was really fun because you had all of them little bitty holes in there. So yeah, that was. But also, I don't like just taking the pieces and just piece. That's why I made put them on different things to make them stand out, make them look more like artwork. Other things that you can do. Let's see. We'll go back over to this camera here. Inlays. Inlays are really easy with this thing. I got a double inlay here, that on that side, that on that side. Made the hinges. Hinges are all done on a scroll saw. So, it's not just taking something flat and making a picture from it. You can do all kinds of stuff with a scroll saw. That's why I really like them, is because they're not just a single faceted machine. Yep. All of these that are long as they're pinless blades, they're all interchangeable. They're all 5 inches long, and they're all interchangeable. Yes, you can. It'll go. That's so. Because this one here goes to there. Yeah, that's this thing. I've cut metal. I've got all kinds of things with this one, because I even cut ceramic. They do have a feature that I have never bought. I'm cheap. I sit there with an eyedropper and drop water on it. But when you're cutting ceramic, they have a thing that goes into this hole right here, and it dribbles water down as you're sitting there cutting on it. But I've cut ceramic on this thing. Any other questions? So if you want, I can come up here and play with these. I got some wood up here, and you can see how they feel. So thanks for listening.